Hey, this is Lavender Rose. And guess what time it is? It's time to make another quilt. Sorry, I had to give me something to drink. What you need for this one, what I used was a cutter board, and I've had two different cutter blades. I thought I'd like this one better, but I don't. I think I like this one better. There's a couple of them. Just the cutter blade, you can go along and cut it. It's so much easier than using scissors. And then you use a cutter board that heals itself. After you cut it, it goes back together. Although I have found out that after you cut, some, that it will leave a groove there. Alright, this quilt is going to be blues, light and dark blues. All you need for this one is your cutting board, your cutter blades, 6 by 6.5 inch square, your 2 by 6.5 inch rectangles, which goes for the squares just like that. Let's see if I can line these up just a little bit better. Let's just take some away. That way I won't have as much of a problem with it. There we go. Now, we'll straighten this up a little bit. Here's what you do with this. You have to cut out 2 by 2 squares. See? 2 by 2 squares. Your 2 by 6.5 inch rectangles and your 6.5 inch by 6.5 inch squares. So you need that. You need your cutting board, you need your wheels, cutting wheels, you cut out your material. And that's the size you cut them to. This is Lavender Rose, by the way, and this is a very, very easy quilt to make. It's fun. You will also need a backing. I usually buy my backing from, it's a whole piece. I don't like a seam in mine. I like a whole piece for the backing, which is you do this top and you have the padding and you do a quilting behind it. I mean, do the back, and not the backing, but yeah, the backing in behind that. And you've got your cotton stuff in between. This is what I like to use. This is Dream Cotton, Quilter's Dream Cotton. This has worked out really good for me. It's so easy to work with. You see the price, though. Can't tell if you can see or not. It's hard to tell. Anyway, it's $49.99 there. Here's some. It is $63.99. But it is Quilter's Dream Cotton. It works. It's so easy to work with. I wanted to show you this. This is a quilt I done for my daughter. This was done with leaves, leaf patterns, all kinds of tree pattern, with your pine needles, your oak leaves, and some solids in there with it. And it made such a beautiful, beautiful quilt. She came down a little early, but this is for her Christmas, and she said she wanted to come down before, because with the virus, we might not be able to travel and make it worse again. You can't really travel. So she said she'd come on down, so I went ahead and gave her that, because I didn't want to ship it. After you work that hard on something like it, you don't want to ship it. You really don't. We've got a storm that's coming in on us, so we've got that to look forward to tomorrow. So, like I said, the backing I buy is a whole one piece. I usually buy 108 by 108. That way I've got plenty. It could wrap around the top if you wanted it to. If you don't, then you don't have to do that. But, so that's how you start it. You cut out all your pieces. Then, let's see, which one do I want, that one or the other one? I think I wanted maybe the other end, I'm not sure. let's just get on out here. Here we go. Here's how it starts. Very, 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 very simple. You sew this row here, this right here. You sew that. And I give you more details in some other videos, but you sew it like this. These are just pinned. But you sew it like that. And then you'll sew those all the way down that way. And then you put them together. It's going to make such a pretty quilt. Now, I'm doing this for my son. And it's going to be a hand-quilted quilt. And he likes blues, so it's all done in blues. Where my daughter's was, hers was done in tree leaves and just leaves of all kinds, so in earthy tones. So that's what she usually likes. So she was very pleased with it. She was really, really happy about it. But this is what it's going to look like. This is my first row, and as you can see, it just went on and on. You just pick your colors. You want a dark and a light beside it. Let's see if I get both of those in there. There you go. But you want a dark and a light. And on these little squares, same thing, a dark and a light. And you keep rotating them as you go back, and you try not to get any of them alike. See, those four are all different. These those four little squares are all different. You try to keep them all different. And you also do your squares the same way. Try to keep it different. That's the reason you do a light one and a dark one, a light one, a dark one. That way you can kind of get different stuff in there. You also press your seams. You need to press them. And as you can see, you press them. And then you'll sew your next row on. So it starts out with this row, it goes to this row, it goes to this one, and then it goes back to the 6.5 inch squares. Now, like I said, it's going to make a beautiful quilt. This is just going to be a queen. My daughter's was like a California king. So it was huge. It really was. And what I do most of the time, I draw a little pattern out. Like my quilt is going to be. I don't know how you can see it better that way or not. It's hard to tell. So I just, drew it out. Those are the 2 inch by 6.5 inch. Here's my little 6.5 inch by 6.5 inch squares, and then the little 2 inch squares, and it's how it's all put together. I don't know, it just seems like it got too much light on it somehow. But anyway, you do that. That way you can figure out how many you need across. This will make a 9 inch square. And you can figure out how many you need to get you a queen size. I usually go by the mattress, or either I go by how big the batting is. And the cotton batting was, let me see, I think I put it back in yonder. It was like 108 by 90, I think. Something like that, 108 by 90. So anyway, you sew all your pieces together, press them as you go, like I said, and then just keep going, and you'll have it done in no time. It usually takes me about a year, less than a year sometimes, to sew it, cut it, sew it, put it together, quilt it, and all of that. It's usually about a year. Sometimes it's less. This didn't take as long. I had it done by probably August, and she come down in October and picked it up. So yay! I didn't have to ship it. I did not want to ship it, and she had brought me something she didn't want to ship. She brought me a real nice Yeti cooler, and because we go on kayaking and And as long as we're, we're out doing all kinds of things like that, or if we want to come up there to visit her, we'd have the cooler, everything would stay nice and cool, so it was really nice. And we have other stuff, but, she's going to wait and see if this virus is going to pick back up again. This has been a deadly, deadly virus. It has killed so many people, and people have gotten so sick, and even after you get over it, I am hearing that you can have blood clots in your legs. Your lungs can be seriously damaged from it. Just all kinds of horrible, horrible things. Like I said, it was a hurricane, but it's down to a tropical storm now coming our way tomorrow. So we've got that to look forward to. Just all kinds of good things, huh? But anyway, we're hoping we can still get together for Christmas. But that's what it looks like. So Granny is quilting again, and I love to do this. It's so much fun, and to watch all the colors go together and everything, and it's amazing. I would say that if you're like me, I had to get what I could get. I went to Walmart, and I got this. And I don't know if you're going to be able to tell or not. One way, this has like a little pattern on it, and the other it doesn't. And I don't know if you're going to be able to see that or not. But you have to, this is the right side is the one with the pattern, so you have to be real careful to make sure you put your right sides together. Always sew your right sides together and then flip it out. So there you go. I think you would enjoy doing this. You might want to do a throw. A throw is like 58 inches by 73 inches, and it wouldn't take you as long to do it. And, so you might try that. That would make really nice Christmas gifts. Or just good for yourself, Snuggle up in the wintertime. But that's it. I'll go into detail more about it down the road as I'm doing stuff, and I'll show you how to do it. And I think everyone can do this quilt. This is a very, very easy quilt. You don't have triangles or all them things that you got to match up and everything. These are just squares, rectangles. It just goes together just like that. Very, very simple. You do this row, and you sew that row together, and then you sew this to that, and that starts your quilt. Alright, this is Lavender Rose saying bye for now. Come back to see me. Get you some coffee and enjoy the day, and I will talk to you next time about the quilt and how far I got along and what I'm doing. And come do a quilt with me. Like I said, it's when I bought my material, I just got like 2 yards here, 2 yards there, and then gathered up some, and so I've been buying some along, and some was given to me, so I don't know exactly how much yardage it would take. I think it does tell in the other one if you're doing just a throw. So, let's see, if you're just doing a throw, it's, for the squares, it's 2 yards. For the flannel sashing, it's or borders, it's called. It's 1 3/8 yards. They use flannel on this. I use my cotton. I don't like flannel that much. For the border, it's like 2 yards. For the backing, it's 3 3/4 yards. You'd need probably more than that. It depends on how wide it is. You have to have your back and your sewing thread and all that stuff. I do not machine quilt mine. Like I said, I quilt it by hand. And I don't do it on what do they call it? I don't do it on I started out doing that on a frame, and it was just too much trouble. I had to take it down, put it up, because it's so big. This, I quilt right here on my table. I'll unfold it, I'll quilt a space, I'll move on and do another space, and it works out very, very well. So if you don't have room enough for a quilting frame, you can do this, and it will do just as good. Okay, I'm going to say bye for now. Come back to see me. I hope you have a good day. Take care of yourself and stay safe. They've told us we don't have to wear masks, but I'm still wearing mine, and most people are. There's only a few that's not wearing them, so, you know, stay safe. Wash your hands a lot, and take care. And I'll see you next time.